Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Brant with CPC Bodybuilding, the home of men's classic physique. Today, got a special guest previewing the IFBB Ultimate Warriors Pro in men's classic physique held in Anaheim, California. Today's special guest is one of the best up-and-coming IFBB Classic pros. Did a fantastic job in his rookie season, placing as high as second at some of these really competitive pro shows. We've got Dylan Bursey out of Canada joining me today. Dylan, how you doing, man?
Doing well, man. How you doing? Thanks for having me on today.
Great, yeah, it's a pleasure, man. I definitely wanted to have you on just with one, how awesome of a bodybuilder you are, and two, just I think we've interacted a little bit here and there, and it just kind of made sense to have you on. Hope to have you on in the future, man. So really stoked for this preview here.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. And I'm sure I can speak for a lot of classic guys, and we really appreciate what you're doing and what you're bringing to the sport. And classic doesn't get the coverage that say like open does on a routine basis, but it's really really nice to have somebody kind of step up and take the reins and cover this stuff, because there are so many good athletes out there, and there's so many shows and so many competitors every weekend, it seems. And yeah, it's nice to be able to have a platform to kind of give these guys some spotlight. It's great.
Yeah, it means a lot, man. I appreciate it. So, without further ado, guys, we're going to jump into the preview. So, I'm going to share my screen so y'all can see. Um, First up, just want to make sure that we are giving spotlight to special guest Dylan. So, go follow him on Instagram here at Dylan Bursey, which is just his full name here. And then you can find all of his links and codes here on his Instagram. So make sure you go and support him, give him a follow. Like I said, dude's got a killer physique, fantastic classic bodybuilder, guys, in every sense. So uh, go support Dylan there. And then if you're not following me on Instagram, make sure you go follow me there. It's CPC Bodybuilding. That's the tag right there. Also got the YouTube channel where this will be uploaded here in my bio. So now what we're going to do is we're going to hop into the Ultimate Warriors Pro lineup. So this show is going to be held this upcoming Saturday, October 28th in Anaheim, California. Now, this show is going to be replacing what used to be the IFBB Southwest Muscle Classic Pro that was held just about 13 months ago in Anaheim, California. So it's Tamer and Tarek Elgindy's show that they have every year in Anaheim. Turns out to be a very well organized show, though typically a bit of a smaller classic show. I don't believe there's going to be a live stream. If that changes, I'll be sure to denote that in not only the Instagram page, but also here on YouTube as well. But prejudging is going to start at 11 a.m. Pacific time, and finals will start at 4 p.m. Pacific time. So it'll be all condensed in the middle of the day, which is super nice. It's going to be a very well-run show, like I mentioned, and here is the full lineup. So we've got a couple of scratches here who I believe are going to actually be competing in men's physique, but the IFBB page has not been updated yet. So here's our full lineup. We got Bam Bakaj. They messed up his name, so Sally Bam Bakaj out of the Bronx. We've got Josh Cohn is a scratch. He is a men's physique athlete. Chung Hin Cheng out of China, Chris Furman making his pro debut, Jeremy Fontanet also making his pro debut, and Ken Garcia out of California, who is another guy making his pro debut. We got Alan Mariano Garcia, Zanyar Ghadarpour, Jameer Grady Riley, Jacob Graham, Aaron Jeffrey, Aaron Jackson, Narek Kachatrian, Felipe Marins out of Brazil making a surprise appearance here. Mike Palm, who made his pro debut last week at Hurricane, Tyler Rose, Will Sage, William Sanchez, Bo Santos, George Tibble, and Elias Wilsey. Now, I will note here, Aaron Jackson is a men's physique pro. I contacted him just to double check if he's competing here or in men's physique. Haven't heard back from him, but I do believe he'll probably be men's physique, though he definitely has the wheels to compete here in Classic. So that's your full lineup, guys. Now, what Dylan and I are going to do, are we're going to go through and just talk about each one of these guys, give our thoughts on them. So, our first competitor on the list is Sally Bam Bakaj out of the Bronx. So, he took 13th place at Hurricane last week. And here are a few shots from him, stage photos. So, I really like his front shots. Dylan, when we look at some of these, which of these shots stand out to you?
That there is a really great shot on him. I think it's a pretty unique pose. You don't see a lot of guys hitting that. And I think, yeah, I mean, all of his front shots seem to be really good, honestly. Like, um, yeah, like really full chest and delts there. Um, Great arms, midsection looks good there. I think, does he have any back shots?
So I can try to find a few. Back is kind of the one thing that I know Bam has been working on and trying to bring up. So let's see here. Might have to like wait a little bit on this video, but here he is posing peak week. This is 3 days out at the legendary MI40 gym in Tampa. Let's see if we can get a back quarter turn here. I think he might be avoiding the back shots. Here we go. Here's one from Bam. This is about 5 weeks out, so this isn't representing his true stage condition. I can say, I mean, I was at the show last week and he's definitely in much better shape than this, now that the show's come around.
Yeah.
But really what he and his coach AJ Sims have been working on is bringing in that back condition, because his front shots are definitely his strength. But what you'll notice is I think he just has a harder time bringing the glutes and hamstrings in, which is, it's a lot of guys, struggle to do that.
It is. You see it a lot, and it's, yeah. But you know what? Like, at the same time, too, it's, I've seen tons of guys that just don't have it genetically, or, they have a hard time with that kind of mind muscle connection in the posterior chain. And lots of hard work, man. And, just buckling down and training hard, and just having the right split, targeting the right areas. It's, anybody can do it. It's just with the right guidance and the right training, it's definitely doable. So he looks great. Those front shots are awesome. I really like that kind of classic pose that he has there, almost like a front lat variation. Yeah, that looks great.
Yeah, awesome. I like that shot a lot. The
awesome.
old classic, most muscular.
Yeah, very cool.
Dope shot. So that's Bam Bakaj, guys. I think he might be able to move up if the condition has improved a little bit in the posterior chain. Just because I know he's been trying to dial it in even further this week. So it's Bam Bakaj.
Interesting to see the improvements he made from Hurricane.
So our next competitor, Chung Hin Chang, I couldn't find anything on Instagram or the NPC site on him, so we're going to go ahead and skip him. But this here is Chris Furman, who is making his pro debut. So he turned pro in Class D, the tall guys, at 2021 NPC Nationals, in a lineup where a lot of pros have come out of that lineup. So I want to say probably 3 or 4 guys in that same lineup that this guy beat have turned pro since, including Austin Espy, who is this year's Mr. USA. So this guy is definitely no joke. This is from when he turned pro. So this is from NPC Nationals 2021. And I think he's got great structure. I think that's what he really hangs his hat on, is
absolutely
that classic structure.
Seems like he's put on a lot of size since then. So based on these more recent shots, yeah.
And these are from 2 weeks out.
Okay. Yeah, he, again, like really good shape, nice, really full through the upper body, huge legs, tapered waist. Like he's definitely got that classic look. Definitely seems like he's made a ton of improvements since he turned pro. Yeah, no, this guy looks great.
Yeah, he definitely looks very aesthetic. I would say the one thing that I'm going to be interested to see is what the condition looks like. And that's, it's so variable from guy to guy. Some guys pull like so much water, and their hardness improves greatly just, a few days from the show. So he very well could be one of those guys. But I do think here he still needs to dry out quite a bit just from looking at this. But
Definitely. And
he's got
it's so hard to tell, man, from these
yeah,
photos, right? Like with certain lighting and all that stuff. Like that's one thing that I've learned. Like you're looking at all these shows and looking at updates from guys, and it's like it, you can kind of get the gist, but it's really, really difficult to truly tell until they show up and just how they peak. And like you said, there's so many changes that happen in those last couple days. So it'll be interesting to see how he comes in.
yeah, 100%. That's Chris Furman making his pro debut. Next up, we've got this is Jeremy Fontanet, and he is also making his pro debut. So he turned pro in bodybuilding at Masters USA's last year. And just from these shots right here, I don't think this really does the condition that he brings to the stage justice with the lighting, but he's crazy muscular, crazy separated. If I can find the photo of where he turned pro, like if you look at some of these shots, it's pretty crazy, especially in the front shots.
Yeah.
Through
His
quads.
his glutes, man, are the thing that stands out to me. Pretty wild. Yeah. Yeah. Just all the legs in general, like hamstrings, quads, glutes, like everything there is. Yeah. Yeah. Those shots, more recent shots, definitely don't do him justice.
Yeah, he looks insane, especially in the lower body, and knowing that he's a Masters pro, like that's kind of that time where legs start to fade, and if anything, that looks like his probably his strongest body part. So that's pretty awesome. So that is Jeremy Fontanet making his pro debut. Another anticipated pro debut. This is Ken Garcia out of California. So he turned pro last year at NPC USA's in Class B. And I believe he finished second in the overall, only to the guy who just won the Hurricane Pro last week, Nate Joyner, who also won Mr. USA that year. So Ken is definitely a formidable classic physique competitor. I want to see if we can get some better shots. So I posted an update on my page of him. Let's see. Yeah. And I think Daniel also posted it, but these are just a few shots from Ken a few days out. So yeah, your front relaxed, side chest. What do you think of some of these shots, Dylan?
I mean, yeah, that side shot is awesome. Like that side quad, arms are huge. And for a shorter guy too, like he said, he was class B. So yeah, he's just got that like really bubbly look and really great shape. Yeah, he's peeled. He looks great.
Crazy tiny waist. He's got those wheels are just something, man, especially the quads. God, it's just huge.
Like the only thing I would say on that, and really just on that ab and thigh, would be like a little bit of lats from the front.
Mhm.
Uh, but I mean, everything else there, quads, the abs, arms, everything is, yeah, looks really, really good.
So that's Ken Garcia making his pro debut. Next up, we got Alan Mariano Garcia, who's definitely one of the more seasoned competitors in this lineup. So he's based out of California. And Alan last appeared at the Mexican Grand Battle Pro, which is Breon Ansley's show. Took sixth place in that show, it was a pretty solid lineup. A lot of Mexico and South America's best pros hopped into that show. So sixth place, first call out, and a pretty solid lineup. Definitely noteworthy here because, uh, like I said, Allen's one of the more seasoned veterans here in this lineup. Let's see if we can find some better stage photos. I think I've posted some, and if not, other people have. So let's see here. Yeah, so that's Allen at the last showing. So
Okay.
what do you think just from the couple of photos we've looked at are some of his strengths?
He seems like he might be a little bit of a taller guy. It's hard to tell, but he seems like
Yeah.
he might be a little bit taller. Great muscularity. I mean, he seems, yeah, muscle maturity, that grainy hardness. which seems to be doing really well these days in classic, especially. Yeah, I think he looks great. I would really, I would really say he's probably a front runner, I would say, for a first call out for sure.
Yeah, I definitely see him in the first call out as well. He's just a very polished, very balanced physique from head to toe. And he's coached by Aceto, so you know that he's going to come in sharp and ready to go. So that's Alan Mariano Garcia. Next up, we've got Zanyar Godderpour, who is definitely one of the more veteran guys in this lineup. So he took fifth at Hurricane last week, and then at the Southwest Muscle Classic last year, which this show is basically taken over for that show. Took third place there, and I want to say he took second at San Antonio last year as well. So Zanyar is just super classic in my opinion. Like I love this front double. Dylan, what do you think of some of these shots?
Yeah, I saw his some of his shots from last weekend, and he he looks phenomenal. Yeah, he's going to be a threat, I think, for sure. Assuming he's going to be even more improved from last week. Um, yeah, there's not much missing there, honestly. Pretty complete all around. A little sharper from the back, maybe. I think that would help him out a lot, especially in the lower half. But yeah, he looks great.
Yeah,
That's an
Zanyar is one of those guys who just he's got a polished stage presence. Condition is always there because he works with Boss of Outlaw, and they've really figured things out in the couple years that they have worked together. So, I mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing him be in that, top two or three. I think he's going to be battling for a top spot.
think so too. Yeah.
That is Zanyar Godderpour. Next up, we've got another veteran. This is Jameer Grady Riley, who placed top 10 in his last appearance at Texas State. You can see the posing video here. It's a bit far away, but what he really hangs his hat on is aesthetics. And I'm going to pull up. This is a good shot right here to kind of illustrate that. Dylan, what do you think of this front double right here, man?
Yeah, I mean, he looks really good. Definitely much improved from the shot on the left, as you can obviously tell. Um, yeah, I think, maybe a little bit more width up top and, just to kind of add to that taper a little bit more. But he's got really good lines, man, really tight core, great arms. I think his structure is really, really good. Um, yeah. How recent was that Texas show?
So that was last year. I want to say it was last September. So let's see. That one actually, no, I take it back. This was the 2021 Texas show. This is 2022. So here's some stage shots from 2022.
Okay. Yeah, the legs have come up quite a bit.
Yeah. So he took 10th at that show. And that was a pretty tough show too. Had a couple of Olympians in it. So
Okay. Yeah, no, really good lines. Again, like I think maybe a little bit more width up top, just like chest and delts there, just to kind of and like the lats from the front. I'm not sure about from the back, but legs look fantastic there. That's definitely his strong point.
so that is Jameer Grady Riley. Next up, we got Jacob Graham, who took 13th at Legion. So these are some stage shots from Legion right here. And I think his aesthetics are on point. Just he has very crisp lines, very good classic structure. The only thing I would say that's going to be holding him back, and this is his rookie season, I believe, too. So it's just size right here. If he adds more muscle tissue, this guy's going to be a real threat because he's got beautiful structure and is extremely proportionate.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah, very, very proportioned. Yeah, that's a really good shot on him right there. I think I agree with you too. Just a little bit more size overall. It's funny because almost everyone that I talk to, it seems like everybody has room in their weight cap, especially with the new rules. Like it, it seems like everybody has a good chunk of room, and which is great. It's going to be really exciting for the next few years in classic to see some of these guys really fill out their weight caps and come in like at their full potential. It's going to be exciting.
Absolutely, man. So that is Jacob Graham. Next up, we got Aaron Jeffrey, who last appeared at Hurricane, did not place, but this guy is crazy muscular. What do you think of the front and back double here, man?
Yeah, he's got really, really good lines. Really good lines. Cut a little bit sharper from the back. He's pretty nails from the front. Probably like to see a little bit more hardness and dryness, especially in the lower half from the back, but really good lines, really, like you said, really, really muscular. Yeah, he's got a great structure as well.
Aaron Jeffrey is definitely one of those guys. I think if he brings the condition improved from Hurricane last week, though we don't have any shots up here of it. I mean, if his condition is sharper, I think he could probably move into that top 10. So he's definitely got room to improve because musculature is definitely there. So Aaron Jeffrey. Next up, we got Nary. This is Narek Kachatrian. If I'm butchering that, man, and you're watching, I apologize. Doing my best.
You're doing a better job than I would. So
Yeah. So he's out of Canada. So Dylan, I know you competed against him at Vancouver, where he took eighth place at Vancouver.
yeah,
And I mean, it looks like he's improved quite a bit from
I think so too. And you know what? He looked great at Vancouver. Especially from the back. I was really, really like really impressed with his back shots. And just based on like some of those recent updates you pulled up there, it seems like he's improved a ton. I mean, that was back in July, so we're talking what, 3 months ago now.
yeah.
Yeah, just seems a lot sharper all over. The lines in the legs seem to be improved, and again, he's got a great shape. He's a taller guy, um, so he'll probably be one of the bigger guys in the show, I would assume.
Yeah. I really like his structure. I think he's got um a lot of room to grow, but is definitely on the right track in classic. So that is Narek Kachatrian. Probably one of the bigger surprises here is this guy, Felipe Marins out of Brazil, jumping into this lineup. Now there's a Brazilian show this weekend, so I was a bit surprised to see him doing an American show because that's
Yeah,
quite a bit of travel. Um,
yeah, I was surprised to see that too. Like a lot of those Brazilian guys like to stay local and compete at home, and they've got a insane group of guys down there that are just up and coming. It seems like every day you tune in and it's like, okay, who's this guy coming out of Brazil? Like, wow, it's crazy.
yeah, and Felipe is typically a first call out kind of guy. So his last show where I showed you all of that last photo. So this is from the muscle contest Recife Pro, the Junior Jaworski one. So here's Felipe during the final pose down. He took seventh at this show, so kind of right on the verge of that first and second call out. He's one of those guys though that is very consistently top five in any show that he gets into, and it's because he has such an imposing frame. He's a huge guy. What do you think of this front shot right here, Dylan?
It looks great. He's probably one of my favorites, I think, this weekend. Yeah, he again, it's so hard to tell, but he seems like he is a bigger guy, bigger frame. Um, and typically, bigger guys don't have that really aesthetic look, the tight waist and good lines and stuff like that. So seeing that on a bigger guy, it's really it really imposes a threat, I find, when you can kind of bring the mass and the aesthetic look. So I mean, that front shot, he's not missing anything there, in my opinion.
Yeah, very well put together, man. I definitely think he's, if not top three, definitely top five. I see him in the first call out 100%. So that's Felipe Marins out of Brazil. Next up, we've got Jamal Ono. So Jamal is the only guy I could not find on Instagram. Now, this is from his last appearance at the 2020 Europa Spain Pro, where he did not place. Probably the one point of feedback that I would have is, I mean, I think his arms are very solid. And from what I can tell, he looks like a taller guy. Just might need to fill out a little bit more in terms of adding muscle, and then probably bringing in the condition a touch. But the potential's there.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The lines in the legs look really good. Arms look great. Just yeah, more size and come in a little bit sharper. No masks this weekend, so that's great.
Yeah, love to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is Jamal Ono. Next up, we've got definitely a an up and coming rookie. So this is Mike Palm, who debuted last weekend at Hurricane and took fourth place. Mike's one of those guys who, another guy with a tremendously high ceiling. I really like his front shots. The detail here is just nuts. Dylan, when you look at his physique, what are some things that might stand out to you?
Yeah, I was really impressed with his look at Hurricane. That front double is great there. I find what he does with his midsection there as opposed to that classic pose, like that to me looks a little bit sharper. It could just be the shot itself, but again, I mean, he's not missing anything there. Like he's, standing next to the guy who won, and that's a very comparable shot, I would say. So, yeah, for a rookie, I would say I'd be surprised if he was outside the first call out. He's not really missing anything. Very muscular, pretty bubbly, and probably has, a little bit of room to come in sharper as well, which I think will only help him. So
Yeah, Mike's got a very aesthetic physique and definitely not lacking any muscle mass. Like he's definitely one of the bigger guys, and that's standing next to Cody, and Cody is a very, very
yeah,
dense, muscular guy. So that just shows. Um, I see Mike contending for a top spot. I mean, he's capable of winning this show. I think.
yeah, I would agree with that 100%.
Yeah. So that is Mike Palm making his second pro appearance. Next up, we got Tyler Rose. He was a last minute addition to this lineup. He's also a very big guy, very tall guy. So he is saying he's 230 in these updates right here. This is 2 weeks out on the dot. He hasn't really posted many updates since, but this is from, I believe, 4 or 5 days out. And actually, it might even be a little bit more than that. Might be a week out, but you can see the glutes are coming in, hamstrings are pianoing.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of those guys who hasn't competed a whole lot as a pro. He turned pro in 2019 at USA's, I believe, in Class D, so taller guy, but he's one of those guys who he's kind of a wild card because he's such a good poser. If we look at this, I mean, this is just some freestyle posing. Very aesthetic, very solid poser.
Yeah, yeah, which only is only going to help him, right? He's got his posing is definitely very classic, which I find personally, I find when guys are like that, it draws your eyes. You know what I mean? Like guys that know how to pose and guys that know how to present themselves. Um, yeah, no, he looks great, honestly. Again, with no real recent stage shots or anything like that, it's really hard to tell. So, like you said, a wild card for sure. Um, but it seems like the conditioning is going to be there. Great vacuum. Yeah, his front shots are really good.
Yeah, the posing is what just draws my eye. And I think in a lineup where we don't have any Olympians, nobody here has won a pro show.
Mhm.
This could be his opportunity to really step up and make that next jump because he's been typically a second or third call out kind of guy. And if he really just comes in right, he may not be the most muscular, just, having him be a tall guy. It's just, typically tall guys struggle to fill out their frame. He could really make up some ground with his aesthetics, his posing, his condition. So
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
high ceiling here for Tyler Rose. So next up, we've got one of my favorites in this lineup. This is Will Sage. He took second at last year's Southwest Muscle Classic. This is an update that he posted earlier today. And he works with Ariel Cutts, who is probably the best men's physique coach of all time. Will is also a coach himself, studies the game, very, very thorough with his clientele, and has multiple pros that he coaches himself. So very knowledgeable guy in general. But this is a guy who I think is capable of winning this show, undoubtedly.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you there. I couldn't find a whole lot of more recent updates from him, and I didn't. That's the first I'm seeing of the one he posted today. But he looks great, super complete, really good lines. He's got that classic look, and yeah, I think he's a threat. He's probably one of the highest placing guys in this show from previous shows. So, yeah, I think he would be a top contender, definitely.
Yeah, Will is definitely one of those guys who so you can tell he's a very selfless dude because all he posts is his athletes, but he's got a killer physique himself, just super balanced, very proportionate. I think he probably is like kind of a new school, like Danny Padilla-esque physique, because he's a shorter guy, but just very complete, very well put together, like you said. I think Will's going to be great here.
I agree.
So this is Willie Sanchez, the next guy here. And this guy is very intriguing to me because he's making his pro debut. This is a week out right here in this update. And this is a guy who, as an amateur, did some crazy things, like beat some very, very talented guys. So he won the 2019 Amateur Olympia South America. Now, in that lineup, I didn't count, but I saw numerous South American classic physique pros that he beat in that show, a few of which are going to the Olympia. So this guy is definitely capable of being a giant killer because he is a smaller guy. He was class A as an amateur, and I think he's really aesthetic.
Yeah, he is, and I mean, the conditioning's there, definitely. I don't think that's anything to worry about. Um, yeah, he's got all the lines dry. Um, yeah, it's really interesting to see like these shorter guys, like how they'll stack up against some of these bigger guys, because like we just looked at a couple guys that are, over 6 foot, that are going to be 220, 230. So it's but it comes down to this guy's got incredible shape, really good lines. He's got that classic look for sure, and it seems like he's a great poser. It'll be interesting to see how this guy does. I think he's got the physique to do well, for sure, I think.
Yeah, Willie Sanchez here, guys. Next up, we got Bo Santos. So this is his sophomore season in the IFBB. He debuted at Legion last year, I believe, where I don't think he placed, but to me, Bo just has a very aesthetic physique. He's not the most muscular guy in the world, another shorter guy, but he packs on a lot of density. And then I think he's got some really crisp lines too, just a real clean look. Try to find some better photos here. Let's see what we got. I mean, this is an ad right here, but that's a solid front double. Really like that vacuum.
Yeah, it looks really good on him for sure. Yeah, again, like a shorter guy, but very muscular for his frame, it seems. Um, yeah, quads look unreal there. Yeah.
Yeah, and Bo is another guy who's coached by Cuts. So, very, very solid coaching. And they've been working together for a long time. I think they turned pro together as well. So I think Bo's going to come in sharper than probably ever before. And he's one of those guys who I think could really make that next jump in his career. Because, like I said, he didn't place at Legion, but this might be an opportunity for him to kind of step up there and make, like a top 10 type of finish. So I think Bo's got plenty of room to really improve upon his last showing.
Yeah, I agree. It's like everything seems to be there. You know what I mean? Like he's a pretty complete physique. I don't really see, and the conditioning's there as well. So, yeah, I would agree with you. I could see a top 10 definitely from him.
So that is Bo Santos out of Vegas. Next up, we got George Tybalt. So he is a Masters pro. And let's see, he last appeared at Tampa. He didn't place at that show, but just looking at George's posts, condition is fantastic. What do you think, Dylan?
Yeah, he's dry, dry. He's got that master's conditioning. Yeah, no, he looks great. Yeah, he strikes me as one of those guys that's just peeled all year round.
Yeah, he looks like he's locked in with the diet, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, tremendous Masters classic physique here from George Tybalt. And our last guy is Elias Wilsey. He did not place in his pro debut at his at San Antonio. Um, but I think Elias is one of those guys who, again, can really make that next step because it's been a good 4 or 5 weeks since San Antonio, and really the only feedback that I would have for him is bringing the condition in tighter because I think he's very aesthetic, especially in these front shots.
yeah. I was gonna say the exact same thing. Yeah, a wicked vacuum, um, very classic looking. I would say, yeah, just the conditioning and I mean, he's had the time to improve on that. So hoping to see him come in a little more on point, and I think he could do really well. He's got the shape for it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Another guy with tremendous potential. So that is Elias Wilsey. And we have finished going through the whole lineup. So what we're going to do now is a little bit different style than some of the previous previews. Dylan and I are going to give our first call out and then also pick a winner. So no order on the first call out, but we're definitely going to pick a winner for you guys. So Dylan, as the special guest, would you like to go first or would you like me to go first?
Uh, I'll let you go first because I'm having a hard time over here. I'm making
Yeah.
some notes and I'm still like I don't know. This is a really really difficult show to call because um like you had mentioned, there's nobody here that's won a pro show, and meaning that there's no past Olympians. There's a lot of rookies, a lot of guys that haven't competed in a couple years. So there's a lot of wild cards here. I think it's really easy to kind of give the edge to a couple guys that have competed more recently, and assuming that they're only going to come in better. But yeah, this is a tough one. This is a tough one to call. I'm like I said, looking at my notes here, and I don't even know what direction to go in. So I'll let you take it away, and that might give me a little inspiration as well.
Yeah, sounds good, man. So I went ahead and just picked 6 guys that I think are going to be first call out. Again, with the first call out, it depends just based on what the judges want to see. So the first call out could be just a couple of guys. It could be 6 guys. It could be 8 guys. We don't know, but I just picked 6 here. Um, so my first call out here. So I've got let's see, so I've got Zanyar Gotterpour, who took 5th at Hurricane last week. Just crazy aesthetic. Condition is there. Maybe just a touch tighter and harder, especially in the posterior chain. And I think Zanyar is well capable of winning this show. So I've got Zanyar Gotterpour in my first call out. I've also got Ken Garcia here in my first call out, making his pro debut. I think he has great shape, aesthetics, the crisp lines, and his conditions there. I think Ken shows up and definitely will perform extremely well in his pro debut. I've also got Mike Palm who took fourth at Hurricane last week in his pro debut. Just crazy muscular, has great lines. I love his front shots. I think Mike's going to definitely be in contention for a win here. We also got Felipe Marins out of Brazil. He's a first call out guy and shows a lot bigger than this and against more competitive, veteran type of classic physique guys. Felipe is probably the most seasoned competitor in this entire lineup too. So I like Felipe in my first call out as well. And let's see, I got two more spots. So let's see if I can find him. Where is he? I've got Alan Mariano Garcia out of California. I think he's going to really just shine on stage with his veteran presence. He's placed first call out in, again, some really tough shows like this Mexican Grand Battle Pro. He's done Tijuana and placed good there. So I really like Alan's physique, just very aesthetic, balanced, complete, very classic. So I got him. And then last but certainly not least, I have, let's see, I got Will Sage. And he took second at Southwest Muscle Classic last year, narrowly missing out on that Olympia qualification. He's had a lot of life events happen this year. He lost someone very close to him. And Will is a guy who is extremely motivated. And I think, I'll just go ahead and segue into it here. I think Will's going to win this show, actually. To me, when I was looking at the matchups and in terms of who I think it's going to come down to, I think it's going to be Will versus Zanyar. I think they're probably the two most complete bodybuilders in this show and the two most classic looking guys in this show. But where I think Will is going to have the edge is condition. I think he's going to probably be the hardest guy in this lineup. And though he is a shorter guy, I just think Will has that classic look. And I think his condition is probably what's going to propel him to a win. Now, I think it's going to be crazy, crazy close. Like this could be a show that's decided by 1 point without a doubt in my mind. But this entire first call out, guys, I make these picks. I think any of these guys could win this show. Like it's that close. So I got Will Sage taking the dub here and qualifying for the 2024 Olympia.
Yeah, I do not disagree with any of those picks at all. Even Will, I think I also have him taking the show. I agree with you too. It's going to be close. Like there's a lot of guys here. It could go either way. And I think that top first call out that you have there, I mean, there's a mix of shorter, more compact guys and taller, more mass guys as well. So it could come down to what the judges are looking for on that day. I think you're going to see a lot of contrast in that first call out. So it's going to be interesting to see. But I think Will has the most complete package with just muscularity, density, hardness, conditioning, everything. So I would definitely agree with you in him taking it home.
All right, guys, you heard it here. So both Dylan and I, we got Will Sage as our pick to take the Ultimate Warriors Pro in Anaheim this weekend. Now, before we get out of here, I want to make sure again to thank my special guest, Dylan Bursey, IFBB Classic Physique Pro, for taking time out of his day to preview this show with me. It means the world. Make sure you guys go follow him here on his Instagram, Dylan Bursey. Check out his links and codes here in his bio. Now, before we get out of here, the floor is yours, Dylan. Is there anything you want to say to the people?
Not much, man. I just I want to appreciate. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. Like I had mentioned, doing what you're doing with the coverage and stuff for Classic Physique. It's great to see. And as a competitor myself, like I said, I can speak for a lot of athletes and thank you. And we really appreciate it because it's nice to see these shows getting the coverage and these athletes getting the spotlight that they deserve, and showcasing all the hard work and everything that goes into this. It's no simple task. So it's it's really nice to have a platform to be able to talk about this stuff. And yeah, and just a little exposure for some of these guys, right? Because some of these guys aren't aren't getting the exposure they deserve or getting the notoriety they deserve. And yeah, it's really really nice to see. So I appreciate you for having me on and getting to chat about this. It's been really interesting to look at all these guys and all these physiques, and it's challenging, man. Like it's going to be a good show. I'm really excited to see how this one turns out.
Absolutely, bro. And thank you for the kind words, man. Truly means the world, man. And when I say that I love bodybuilding, and these guys deserve the coverage. That's the thing. It's like I always tell people, you wouldn't turn on ESPN and like want them to talk about the same guy every day. It's like there's so many awesome athletes here in Classic that it's like, to me, starting this was a no-brainer. It's like we got to give these guys the love that they deserve, because bodybuilding is challenging, it's hard, and it's like these guys put their heart and soul into it, and they deserve the coverage. Guys like
Absolutely.
you, guys like the guys we covered in this show. So
No,
um,
we really appreciate it, man. And it's really cool because like that's the thing that's different with bodybuilding. It's so cyclical, right? Like you'll have everyone's going through a different part of their season, right? So you have guys that are just kind of starting their season and guys that are going into their off season. So like that kind of full circle of coverage, it's always someone new that we're talking about. It's always, the eyes are always on someone different. And again, like this show is great because there's going to be a first time winner, which is really, really cool. So
yeah, definitely going to be a hell of a show, guys. So again, thanks to my special guest, Dylan Bursey. Make sure you guys follow him again on Instagram. That is Dylan Bursey for his tag. And stay tuned, guys. If there's a live stream, I'll be sure to loop you in on that and be posting all the updates here on Instagram. So that's going to do it for the preview today, guys. I'm Brant, and that's Dylan. We're signing out here for CPC Bodybuilding. Keep it classic, y'all. See you later.